Sometimes people expect me to do something magical, and then it's really hard. Picture this. London's West End, 1964. The big velvet curtain just dropped after another packed show of My Fair Lady. Julie Andrews' dressing room is full of flowers. It smells like winning. Then someone knocks fast. A studio guy comes in, looking down, holding a telegram tight. Julie opens it, reads it once, reads it again. Her smile disappears. The note is short and mean. Warner Brothers picked Audrey Hepburn to play Eliza Doolittle in the movie. The same part Julie created and made perfect on stage. No heads up, no reason, just nothing. She didn't cry, she didn't yell, she just put the telegram on her makeup table, put on her coat, and walked out into the night. For years, Julie acted like a queen, super calm, classy, perfect. But under that perfect look, she carried 7 big hurts, 7 people, 7 scars she never showed the world. These weren't little fights. They were real backstabs, big egos, and pain that never went away. The first name was Audrey Hepburn, the lady who accidentally stole her big role. There were no magazine fights or mean interviews. But between Julie and Audrey, there was super cold air, so thin you could cut it with a spoon. Not loud, not obvious, but always there, like old perfume in an empty room. Warner Brothers didn't skip Julie because she wasn't good. It was just old Hollywood games. Audrey was the bigger movie star, the safer money choice. They did it quiet and cruel. But the part that hurt Julie most? Audrey never called, never wrote, never even said hi when they were at the same parties later. Just empty space every time they walked the same red carpet. In that quiet, Julie got her answer. To her close friends, she once said, "She's lovely, but that role was never really hers." And the worst kick, Audrey's singing in the movie was dubbed by someone else, and Julie's perfect, strong, emotional voice got left out. The voice that played Eliza every night on stage was suddenly too theater for the movie. Meanwhile, Audrey just moved her lips to a singer she could never beat. The Oscars tried to make it fair and gave Julie Best Actress for Mary Poppins that same year. But to Julie, it felt empty, like a sorry we took your part gift. She smiled big for the cameras like always. But behind the smile was a quiet that said way more than words. And the hurt got worse because another person from My Fair Lady hurt her even more. Rex Harrison, the co-star with the huge ego. On stage, everyone loved him. Julie's partner, a Broadway star with charm and a big head. But when they started filming the movie, Rex supposedly made sure Julie stayed away from it. Too pure, too stiff, he told the director. Not like helpful notes, like he was throwing her away, like all her work on the role was nothing. Julie never called him out in public. She stayed cool for years. Then one quiet day in the 90s, having tea with a friend, she finally said what everyone guessed. Rex didn't want me in that movie. He made sure I wasn't. To her, it wasn't just losing a job. It was on-purpose sabotage. She had played Eliza hundreds of times, made her funny, smart, and real. But when the movie world was ready to see her Eliza, the door got slammed. No thank you, nothing. Rex walked in alone and got the final punch. He won the Oscar for the role Julie created, the role she gave everything to every night. While Rex stood on stage, soaking up the clapping and giving his speech, Julie sat home, quiet, still, watching the prize she earned go to someone else. Years later, 1982, they met again at a theater party. Julie walked right past him. No look, no hello, no handout, just smooth, practiced coldness. To strangers, it looked like 2 old co-stars just missing each other. Here. But to people who knew the story, it was the soft sound of an old grudge kept perfect. But hurt doesn't always come from a co-star. Sometimes it comes from the guy with the conductor stick, Henry Mancini. For Julie, music was everything, her safe place. So when she got asked to sing at a big TV concert led by the famous Mancini in the early 70s, she was super excited and respectful. Mancini wrote Moon River and Pink Panther. It felt like a dream team. At first, everything was perfect. The orchestra sounded huge, Julie's voice flew easy, the room felt magic. Until it broke. In the middle of practice, Mancini stopped the music, walked up, and said loud so everyone heard, "Let's do it again," with less choir girl and more woman. People gasped, looked around, super quiet. To him, it was just direction. To her, it felt like a slap. Julie didn't show it. She nodded, sang again, finished perfect. But inside, something broke. That night, she left quiet and never worked with him again. Later, she told a close friend, "He didn't fix a note. He attacked me, who I am, my voice." She never trashed him in public, not her style, but to her friends she called him the man who tried to rewrite my soul. She kept singing for millions after that. But the hurt from being called too sweet and told to change who she was never went away. And her next hurt wasn't even work, it was personal. Emma Thompson, the friend who turned critic. They were supposed to be super similar, smart, funny, super British classy ladies. For years, Julie and Emma saw each other at awards, fancy parties, backstage, always nice, compliments, big respect. Julie thought Emma was amazing, sharp, someone to pass the classy torch to. So in 2005, when Emma started writing the new Nanny McPhee movie, Julie quietly asked through her agent for maybe a tiny cameo, a voice line, anything small to honor the old Mary Poppins. Juke Oz, something sweet, but the answer was a hard no. One producer heard Emma say it cold. "Julie's time is over. We want something sharper." To the team, it was just a creative call. To Julie, it felt like a knife right in the heart. She didn't fight or beg. She stepped back graceful as ever. But that night at home, she told a friend on the phone, "I guess there's no room for nice manners in today's magic." She never watched Nanny McPhee. Not mad, just didn't want to make the rejection feel even realer. Hollywood called it normal casting. To Julie, it felt like slowly erasing everything she stood for. Over lunch in a fancy part of London, she whispered, "It's the people you really like who hurt you the worst." And the hurt came back again, this time from someone who loved music the same way. Barbra Streisand, the duet that never happened. For years, fans begged for it. Julie and Barbra together, fire and perfect control, power and shine. It felt meant to be. Record companies talked about it. Gossip columns hinted. Everyone wanted it, but it never happened. Why? People inside say it wasn't busy schedules. The real reason was meaner. Barbra supposedly said in private that Julie was perfect technically but cold emotionally. The words weren't supposed to get out. But they reached Julie through a friend, and it hurt bad. Julie had always praised Barbra in public. Bold, genius, fearless, a total star. She stuck up for Barbra when people were mean, loved her big chances, called her unbelievable. So when those cold words came back, Julie didn't fight, she went quiet. Later in a rare interview when someone asked if she'd ever sing with Barbra, Julie said super calm, "Some voices just don't mix." 5 little words that shocked everyone. It was one of the only times Julie used words like a sharp knife, soft, exact, impossible to pretend you didn't hear. And just like that, the dream, duet was gone. But even that icy moment was nothing compared to the deepest cut from the man closest to her. Blake Edwards, her husband who went too far. Their love story always looked perfect. Julie and Blake, his star, his director, real partners in life and movies, total Hollywood fairy tale. But in 1981, everything cracked on the set of S.O.B., the dark, funny movie Blake wrote and directed. What was supposed to be a clever joke turned into a fight. For the first time ever, Julie, the super clean Mary Poppins, America's sweet girl, was asked to do a topless scene. Blake said it was smart, bold, needed for the story. Julie wasn't sure, but she trusted her director. And her husband, she went home to every night. What happened next didn't feel strong. It felt like falling apart. After the movie came out, she told friends it messed up how people saw her and hurt her marriage bad. The newspapers went crazy. Fans were shocked. Julie felt completely naked inside and out. At home, they fought quiet. Not about being naked, but about control, risk, and who the joke was really on. One friend said, she gave him her whole career and he gave her a script that laughed at it. Julie forgave him in the end. Time made the top look smooth again. But the hurt stayed under every happy interview, every red carpet smile, every "we're so in love" wave. Because the world saw perfect couple, but Julie never forgot how it felt to be left open by the one guy supposed to keep her safe. And then came the seventh name, the one she almost never said out loud until now, Walt Disney, the man who gave her a dream and the biggest letdown. He gave her Mary Poppins. He gave her the role that made her a movie star. But Walt Disney also gave Julie something heavy. Rules, a perfect image, and a box she could never fully leave. Julie loved Walt. She always talked about how creative and magical he was. But behind the glitter was something harder. Disney didn't just want her to act perfect. He wanted her to be perfect all the time, on camera, off camera, everywhere. Always smile, always sweet, always the flawless lady he built. When Mary Poppins got huge, Julie hoped it would open doors to tougher, deeper roles. Instead, Disney's people warned her, "Don't mess up the image Walt made." Right then, she realized she wasn't just an actress anymore. She was a brand, a symbol, and the role that shot her to the top now quietly held her down. Movie studios didn't want Julie Andrews. They wanted Mary Poppins in a different hat. They didn't want complicated. They wanted sugar. She tried to grow, try new things, step out of the perfect box, but every time people softly said no and reminded her who she was supposed to be. One rare day over lunch in the English countryside, she told a friend, "Walt gave me wings, but only if I stayed in the cage." She didn't hate him. It wasn't mad. It was sadder, quiet heartbreak that changes your whole life. And that soft pain started her long, quiet fight back. Julie Andrews never yelled her story. She never got mad online or leaked drama. But now at 89, she's finally letting the real story out. Not angry, just clear and calm. She stayed polite until no one listened anymore. She stayed kind until people used it as an excuse to ignore her. She stayed classy even when the world tried to shrink her into one role. 7 names. 7 moments that chipped her perfect statue she never wanted. But under that shiny surface was something way stronger. Steel. Julie didn't just survive those hurts. She carried them beautifully, turned them into strength, and kept singing through every scar. And now, finally, her voice, the one they tried to control, quiet, or change, is really being heard